We're rolling.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode, you know what episode?
13.
13 of the now Building and Becoming show. I am Jim.
I'm Allie.
What's the name all about, Al? You want me to tell the people?
Trolls and Savages.
So, yes, the episode name. I'm talking about the name Building and Becoming. So I'll unpack that.
Oh, okay.
So we are about building a foundational faith in Christ.
Wow.
Becoming strong, fit, and capable in all areas of life. And here's how we do it. Okay. So our mission is to provide so much free value and put it out into the world that if people never spend a dollar with us and they'll follow along and implement what we're talking about and the strategies and tactics, that their lives are going to change drastically for the better.
Yep.
That's the mission, right? So we do our best to provide tons of that value. I'm on Instagram, most active on Instagram at Real Jim Moats.
Correct.
You are on Instagram.
Yes.
You're at Alligator with several L's, and people will find you.
4 L's.
4 L's in Alligator. But TikTok is kind of your thing.
I'm TikToking. Yeah.
Yeah. How do they find you on TikTok?
I don't
You don't know your handle?
I think it's Alligator 4.
All right. Well, so you get a lot of traction on TikTok.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, my posts are really funny. So if you want to laugh.
they're freaking really good. So our mission, like I said, is just to change lives without people having to go broke. But we do offer paid options.
Yes.
The first and the easiest way to connect is through our Building and Becoming school community. Guys, do you know what school is? A lot of people are still not on board with what school is, and it's pretty neat. Online community.
Yes.
A community of communities is basically what school is, and we are one of many.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's for people who are willing to grow, invest in that growth, and most importantly, willing to help others do the same.
Right.
So if you guys want to reach out to us and you need some more information on what Building and Becoming is on the school platform, I'll give you the elevator pitch. Just reach out to me. We can schedule a call. I can text you some information. I can send you a free link. Allie and I and the other members would love to have you come in for a free week. That would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Also, we do offer one-on-one, more in-depth, personalized coaching.
Correct.
It's in a framework and a program called Deep Water. So it's not for everybody. If there's 1,000 people listening to this, it's for a really small percentage of that 1,000 people.
Right.
But for those who they know, you know what, this might be for me. It probably is. If you're getting that feeling in your stomach, if you want rapid growth, it's a 90-day program that'll change your life. So if you're willing, reach out. I'll get you the details on that too.
Okay.
What else do we need to cover before we jump into the meat of the show?
I don't think that's it.
You think that's just pretty much the surface, and now we can get rocking and rolling?
I do.
All right. So good. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff today, but one of the main things we're going to talk about is trolls and savages. We've been encountering a lot of trolls, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll let you take the floor, discuss some of the people who've been messing with you lately. I've got a couple good stories, and I also have something that I want to read from Andy Frisella that I found this morning. So go ahead.
Oh. So I just have people on the internet that are just mainly men, which is so funny, that are just making fun of my eyelashes, which is crazy. But what I really appreciate is how supportive the women that I've come encounter with via social media, how encouraging they've been. Because I've really blown up recently on social media, specifically TikTok, with what I'm doing and kind of introducing myself. And they've been really encouraging, but it's none of it like that you're fat or you shouldn't be talking like that, or I don't know what I'm saying. It's all on my appearance. It's just my eyelashes, which are so crazy. But other than that, it's just been really funny to witness that, or to, I guess, read that.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of comments, mostly on YouTube. So as our YouTube has gotten more popular, we have about 116,000 subscribers on YouTube. The comments that come in on YouTube are more hateful and mean than I would have thought.
Mm-hmm.
And what I get mostly from the negative, and there's a lot of positive too, but from the negative side is I get called a leech, a scumbag. I'm using Jesus to steal money from people. And I respond back to some of them because I want to explain to these people this content is put out there for free. Everything you're watching on YouTube, Mr. Horrible Troll, is free, right?
Mhm.
And there's hours and hours and hours of it. Now, is there more in depth things that people can do? Yeah. And we want to make a living doing that. But it starts with creating value and helping other people achieve. We believe that if we help enough other people get what they want in life, then we can have everything we want in life.
Yeah, free people, free people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's amazing to me because when you start throwing Jesus and fitness around together, even individually, it's a problem for people. But when you combine those things, the hate really comes out. One of the things that I've noticed, and I had this discussion very recently. See, I've been on both sides of all of these fences. So I've been very, very poor and I've been wealthy. I've been really, really out of shape and sick metabolically, physically, fat and just really out of it. And I've been pretty dialed in my fitness. So I've been on both sides of these things. And one of the things that I've recently noticed is really fat people, out of shape people, a lot of them have this mindset that people like us that have worked really hard to lead disciplined lifestyles and become physically strong and in shape, that we somehow think we're better than them and we're looking down upon them. And the fact is, that's a them problem because that's not true. In fact, I used to think that when I was fat and sick and out of shape. But with people like us, we know we're not better than them.
I also want to point out that I think it's also mainly men that are that are doing this
It is.
punching down thing, which is like, uh, there's this trend on TikTok right now where you introduce yourself and you kind of you name some things about yourself and like what your hobbies are. Um, and all of these women were pouring into my comments about how can I support your business, following along on your journey. And my post was just getting shared. I got over 40,000 views and so many follows. Like it just blew up. But then you post something else, and all of these men just flood in and say such hurtful things to you. And it's like, why are you having such a crappy day?
Yeah.
And it's so weird because those same men are the ones that are like, I'm going to protect my daughter if someone says anything. But then you get
Yeah.
on the keyboard and you're going to wound somebody else's daughter.
Yeah. I found that on social media, the people that are supporting me the most are the ones who are in the same field. In other words, they're competitors. So they also have coaching platforms and they are becoming fitness and even faith influencers.
Are those male or female?
Male.
See, that's where I disagree too, because I had someone message me on Facebook and telling me that I was doing everything wrong to ruin our business. And I had to respectfully remind him that I didn't ask for his opinion.
Yeah.
Because newsflash, not everybody wants your opinion all of the time. And
Yeah.
if you want to offer advice, maybe ask that person or have some sort of relationship with that person, right? Not just come out and tell me how much money you've made.
Yeah.
But I think that it's hard for a female to try to, whether it's in the auto industry or whatever, to try to branch out because people, no matter if it's in the same field, are so quick to punch down, and it's
Yeah.
insane. And so we're trying to build our own sphere here.
Yeah.
And
I've seen though, and it's weird because we have opposite experiences.
correct.
So you're a young female, I'm an older male.
Mhm.
So we're getting total 180-degree different experiences
Yeah.
from people online. And I'm getting so much support from, but a lot of them are 40, 50-year-old guys who are really in great shape.
That's true.
And those guys are like, hey, man, you're killing it. Keep going. You look great. I love what you're building. I love your faith angle. And I'm getting a lot of support there. Now, the ones that are on there hating me, there's a few things they have in common because I study this stuff probably more than I should. So most of them, I won't say all, but an overwhelming majority of the trolls you can tell by, excuse me, the profile. They're out of shape,
They
right?
drink.
They're generally, you can go find, right, pictures of them at the bar and doing stupid crap. And most of them have their pronouns in their bio,
Yeah.
which take from that what you will, right? A lot of them have the gay flag on there. Okay. They also attack me for being a gay hater. Okay. There's nothing on any of my social media that's ever talked about any of that. I love Jesus doesn't mean I hate gay people.
Well, I just know what it says in the Bible.
Yeah. Right. I'm not attacking gay people and I'm not out there doing that. Yet I get attacked for that. And it's always the out of shape, broke people that want to tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. Or so I just, what I've learned is if I'm not willing to deal with that and to even be willing to look silly, I'm never going to build anything that's going to impact lives. And so we're about impacting people's lives. We want people to hear our content, to watch what we're doing. We've decided to live out a lifestyle and and through trial and error figure out what works to help us optimize our lives. And then we want to be able to show that to the public, to be able to say with confidence, this is working for us. And if you'd like this kind of lifestyle and these changes, we'd love an opportunity to partner with you to show you how we're living.
Well, and this could work for you too. I think it's also because it'd be a lie to say if that doesn't hurt your feelings or to kind of start to pick apart yourself, but it's also helped instill those hateful comments a different sort of confidence. You know what I mean? Because you, it's hard to, you want to stick up for yourself and you want to punch down and you want to be like, well, I can really make you feel
Yeah.
bad about yourself. But to rise above and be that bigger person and continue to kill them with kindness, because the stuff that I have on my page, I want it to be a representation of who that I'm a Christ following woman, right? But with a little bit of comedy, right? I want it to be relatable content to women. But if I go on there and I derail the person the way that he just derailed me, then it's like I'm have both feet, and I don't want it to be like that. So sometimes it's nice to be like, you wanted to get my goat so bad, and I didn't give it to you,
Yeah.
and that helps build confidence in me because I'm like, I don't go down to that level anymore.
Yeah. So the toughest guys and gals aren't out there looking to fight
Yeah,
because they understand that there's no winners in any of that. We're not going to engage in that kind of nonsense. In fact, what I've decided to start doing is I'm sorry if you've been hurt by somebody that professes to have a faith in Christ. I'll pray for you.
yeah.
And that really sets them off.
Well, because don't do that.
Yeah, I don't need your prayers. Okay, but you don't get to decide whether or not I pray for you or not. And you also don't get to decide whether or not God loves you because he does.
Yeah,
And that just sends them off the rails. So we both are dealing with different types of call it hate. I don't even know if it's hate. It's people that like to sit at home and bash on people that are out there trying to build something.
well, and I also think it's crazy that most of these things, these comments come at nighttime. And granted, maybe it's a daytime when they're, when I'm asleep, but when I get online and I check my social media in the morning, it's like this comment happened 10 hours ago. Well, 10 hours ago I was sleeping. And so it's like these people have nothing better to do
Yeah.
than doom scroll social media. And
Yeah.
so
what's happened is as we're growing our following and we're building businesses that we're certainly taking up a lot of space in these people's heads.
mhm.
And it's creepy. And it's just about compartmentalizing that stuff and just moving on.
Yeah.
And so I think we're both doing a good job at that. Uh, I want to read you some stuff from an email that Andy Frisella sent out today. You guys know Andy Frisella, 75 hard creator, owns. There's a guest on the show. There's Ozzy.
She doesn't feel good today.
So First Form, a supplement company out of St. Louis, Missouri, a Real AF podcast. I plug his stuff all the time. Big Andy Frisella fan. So here's what he has to say. I got to put these on now. He says, the ones doing nothing always talk the most. They sit in circles, broke and bitter, taking shots at people who are actually moving, mocking what they don't understand, criticizing what they couldn't carry, picking apart your drive so they don't have to confront their own decay. Here's the thing you got to understand. They don't hate you. They hate what you represent.
Right.
You represent motion. You represent discipline. You represent what they could have been if they didn't quit on themselves. Your consistency, it convicts them. Your growth, it exposes their excuses. Your pace, it reminds them they chose comfort over courage. That's why they talk, because they can't do. So they perform loud, dramatic, worthless performances for an audience just as miserable as them. You don't owe them a reaction. You don't owe them your peace. You don't owe them a single ounce of your energy. Let them run their mouths. Let them keep pretending they're relevant. Let them stay stuck in the same spot while you stack win after win in silence, because one day you'll be winning so big, they'll say your name just to make themselves feel relevant to the conversation. You'll be that guy they grew up with. When that day comes, you won't even remember who they were. Keep building, keep moving, keep your blade sharp. Eventually, after the hate fades, most of these very same people will improve themselves because of seeing what you did.
Right.
If they don't, and still run their fat hater mouths with their Cheeto dust fingers from behind a keyboard in their shitty life, bury their noise 1,000 feet deep by becoming everything they were too afraid to become. Wow.
Yeah, that's something.
That pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And he deals with it on a level that I have not seen before.
Yes.
And this guy is pro America, pro entrepreneurship, pro business, pro freedom. He's pro everything that you should be pro if you're an American,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
He's not out there telling people how to live. He's showing people how he's living.
Right.
And that's the key to the whole thing. And he's right. He's spot on.
Yep.
Yeah. So anything else on the trolls?
No.
Yeah. So we're far from trolls. We're on the other end of the spectrum. What do we call that end of the spectrum? We're
Savages.
freaking savages, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Savages is our highest form of compliment to people. When I say to somebody, you are a savage, that's like the highest form of compliment I can give them. So those on the internet, when I'm complimenting your page and I'm telling you you're a freaking savage, I hope you understand that I don't take that lightly. It's a big deal. What do I tell you every day?
That I'm a savage.
That's right. Because you are. I actually call you a beautiful savage.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because that's like the ultimate compliment.
Yes.
You want to talk about your book that you're reading?
Oh, yeah. So I'm on phase 1. Well, I just finished phase 1. I have to wait to start phase 2. I'm going to start phase 2 October-ish is my plan.
Do we want to back up and just give a brief overview of what those words mean to the audience who might be listening to this for the first time, who have no idea what 75 Hard is?
Yeah. So 75 Hard is a part of Andy Frisella's Live Hard program. So 75 days of 2 workouts a day, a strict meal plan. What else?
Gallon of water,
A gallon.
10 pages of reading.
Yeah, a gallon of water and 10 pages. That's all 75 Hard is. And then for that, I just kind of did clean eating. I tracked my macros. For phase 1, which is the continuance on of the Live Hard program, it is 2 outside workouts, 10 minutes of visualization. You've got to do a 5-minute cold shower, a strict diet, 8 critical tasks need to be completed each day. And for my diet for that one, I did carnivore, which is so much harder than I thought it was going to be. And then you can move on to phase 2, which needs to be done 30 days after you complete phase 1. And then there's this phase 2 is the same as 75 Hard. So for phase 2, I'm going to do Whole 30. And then you complete your final phase, which I cannot remember what those tasks. I think you have to do a nice act for someone each day.
Yeah, random act of kindness of some kind.
Yep. And that needs to finish on the day that you started.
The day before you started 75 Hard. So it completes an exact 365 days.
Yep. And I started 75 Hard on January 26th. So 27th. Either the 26th or the 27th. So that's kind of what it is. So I'm not going to read any more of my phase 1 book until I start phase 2. So the book that I started was the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
You want to show it to the audience?
Yeah. So here it is. It's by Mark Manson.
You don't get a lot of F words on the Building and Becoming show, but today you might get a couple.
And it's really good. So I read a lot of really great books while I was on program. A lot of books that were kind of geared towards women. So how to show up as her, kind of how to be a badass. A lot of books by Rachel Hollis, and she's an amazing motivational speaker. So this was my first book that I read or started to read that was written by a male. So I was really excited for that. And it's basically what it sounds like. He has a part in this book where he's like, you have only so many fucks to give, right? So you can't go around your entire life giving them to everybody. And he uses this example of this lady, and the term right now is a Karen. So this lady at the grocery store, she's a Karen, and she's probably in her 60s, and she's mad because they didn't validate her coupon. Then the guy at the checkout, he's like, you lady, you just don't get it. Like, you've already used it. And so she's really mad. And so she's letting him have it, and she's, giving out her fucks, so to speak. She can do that because she's old. So she doesn't really have a lot of time left. We have a bunch of time left out on this earth that we shouldn't just be getting mad about everything. We should really hold on to that stuff. And if we're going to care and we're going to invest into something, we really need to make it count. But we have so many soft people that are mad.
Yep.
I'm mad that somebody cut me off in traffic. I'm mad that I overslept. I'm mad that they forgot my French fries. You're pissed off about everything. So your entire day's wrecked. Why? Do you want to walk around your entire life being mad about something? Why? The stuff that you're going to really get upset and really be mad about, you really need to invest and care over,
I do.
So I thought that was really cool.
That's a really good insight.
Yeah. Because I was like, that's so true. I get so upset sometimes over such small stuff. Arlie not turning off a light, or we left 3 minutes later to school than we should be. Okay.
Yeah.
She's still going to get to school.
What's funny is how much time I find myself trading in exchange for just allowing my emotions to be heard. So I'm going to spend 30 seconds Arlie's a great example of, you didn't turn off your, or this and that, whatever it might be. And that's going to upset me for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I've just exchanged. I could have just turned the light off and had peace for the next 3 hours. But instead, now I'm getting myself all riled up, and I'm going to not handle the next interaction the right way. And those trades are so inefficient and so ineffective in our lives. If we can eliminate those trades, those emotional trades, because what we do is we're saying, I need my emotion to be heard, and then I'm going to be pissed off the rest of the day.
Right. My favorite thing to say is no pockets, no fucks.
Not my favorite thing to say.
And, if you're listening to this podcast with little ears, probably should listen to it at a different time, because if you don't have any pockets, you can't store them. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, well, I don't have a pocket.
Yeah.
I can't invest in that. I don't care. And it's funny, but not everything is so serious and so deep that you need to put into that. And so he uses another example about something happened with his mom's house, and his mom was really getting taken advantage of. And that was a time that he needed to care. He needed to get invested, and he needed to say something to somebody, because that's something that requires passion. And I'm like, okay, if more people, it ties really back into our internet trolls. Our cats are going crazy. I wish you could hear them. Everyone's all offended about what you're saying online, and it's really, that's what they're choosing to pour into. That's what they're choosing to give up today, instead of focusing on something that might be a little bit more impactful in their life.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why they have those lives. So what is happening is, and it's not just because we're putting our lives out on social media. What's happening is we're becoming more and more rare. And what do I mean by that? It sounds arrogant to say. It's really not. It's just true. And we're not accomplishing anything that other people can accomplish. But we are accomplishing this. We are. Hey, friends. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Now, right now, I want you to text me at my personal cell number, 402-250-7499. I'm going to send you some PDFs from my first 2 books and a free link into our building and becoming school community. No catch, no gimmicks, just free value. Now back to the show. Disciplined people. Okay. We track all of our food. We know what's going in our mouths. We eat clean. We train really, really hard. 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week.
Mhm.
We're lifting weights. Sometimes we're doing 2-a-day workouts,
Right.
right? We're
Yep.
drinking a lot of water. I don't drink any alcohol, haven't in 22 years. You rarely drink alcohol anymore. And we're going to unpack that here in a minute. But the lives that we lead, we get up early, we go to bed early. We're very disciplined and consistent. We are tithers of our income. That's very important to us from a faith and finance perspective. There's just so many things we do that are outside of the norm of society. And as we compound these habits and build this lifestyle together, we're becoming more and more rare. So as you become more and more rare, you're over here set apart.
Yeah, and then that makes you weird.
It does. It makes you the weirdo,
Yeah.
right? That's exactly the point. Thank you for making that point. We are now the weirdos.
Yeah.
Right? And it's crazy because you're on a diet? No, I just eat real food.
Yeah.
That's weird to people. But if you say to somebody, oh, I ran through Taco Bell for lunch and then after work, I'm going to get some Chick-fil-A and go home, or we're going to order Domino's, and everyone's like, oh, that sounds like a great night. Have fun. But if I say, well, I'm going to go home and make sure that I'm going to grill out, I'm going to weigh my food and make sure my portions are managed because I want to make sure I'm getting a certain amount of protein. They're like, you're a weirdo, man. Why is that so strange? It's amazing to me. I'm going to jump ahead because it's a great point. It's a great part of the show to bring these two questions up. What are we normalizing in our society? And then what are we celebrating? And here's what I mean. We've gotten to a place in society where we normalize really destructive behaviors.
Yeah.
So sin, yes. And we can go down a rabbit hole of what is sin and what's not, but we normalize sin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We normalize being overweight.
Yeah.
We normalize marginalized lifestyles that less than 1% of our society actually engages in.
Right.
Trans lifestyle, that's like less than 1% of our population, but they're trying to make us normalize it. Pronouns and gender identification and all this nonsense that's a fairy tale. They want it to be normal. And then even so, acceptance is one thing. Look, you want to go lead that lifestyle? No problem. I'm not going to judge you. You shouldn't be discriminated against. None of that. That's us accepting that as a society. But that's not good enough. The next stage is they need it to be what? They need it to be normalized.
Yeah.
Then, after they feel that's been normalized, now they're going to get pissed off if we're not celebrating it.
They need months and laws.
That's right. So now we have to celebrate. Oh, you look at you. Is your little 5-year-old boy trans? You're a great mom. I'm not going to celebrate that. I'm not going to normalize that behavior.
Well,
I'm not going to normalize and celebrate mental freaking illness.
that's something that I think that CPS needs to get involved in, quite frankly, because your child does not know if she has a vagina and she wants a penis. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They don't understand. Like Arlie just now knows it's wrong for a girl and a girl to kiss each other.
Yeah.
And that's just our views. I mean, but before she wouldn't even know what to call that. And the only reason why she's kind of figuring that out now is because there's these twat kids at school that were bullying her. And so we had to have that conversation. But if you're going to tell your child at 9 or 5 or whatever that it's okay to be gay or it's okay for you to change out your parts, absolutely not. There's something that's wrong with you. That's so wrong with you that your brain is fried. Your kid's brain is not even fully developed yet to be able to make those decisions.
Yeah.
I think that's wrong.
I think it's also wrong to feed your kids poison and garbage and watch them become obese at 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
We go to the sporting events that Arlie's participating in, and she's 9, and we see these kids that weigh more than you and I weigh. And, there's 200-pound 9-year-old boys out there that can't even move up and down a basketball court. And my heart just breaks for them.
Well, but then you look at their parents and their parents are
They're the same.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. We have to set the standard of health and lifestyle for our family.
Well, and it's not just because, everybody's you're beautiful if that's who you want to be. If you don't want to lift a weight, then you're still beautiful and you're still loved. But can we just talk about what you're doing on the inside? Say God forbid you were to have some sort of surgery, that doctor is going to have to remove pounds of fat to get to whatever organ he needs to
Yeah.
find. You are killing yourself. Just do an x-ray. I posted a TikTok and I did something about it where I had an image of what someone looks like who weighs 150 pounds as opposed to someone who weighs 250 pounds, and just the amount of pure fat that is covering their organs. And that's child abuse for you to let your kids just sit there and eat a whole pizza and to not talk to them about food. Arlie knows what a serving size is. She knows how to weigh her food. She knows how to look at the back of an ingredient bottle and be like, no, we're, and not because I want her to have some sort of weird eating disorder, but because these tools that she learns at 9 years old prepare her to go out and to be a functioning member of society when she's older, for her to make health conscious decisions, because that's what matters. Or she's going to be one of those people that go to McDonald's for breakfast and Taco Bell for lunch. I'm not doing that. I'd be parenting her poorly.
Great point. We're not here to be Arlie's friend.
Mm-hmm.
We're also not here to make her happy.
Correct.
We're here to direct, protect, and provide.
Right.
We need to give her the tools to be a functioning adult person, to excel in life, to be healthy, happy, and whole.
Yeah. And understand that you can eat cleanly and still really enjoy your food.
Yes.
Food is supposed to fuel your body, and there's ways and creative ways to do it in a great way.
I love the people that are walking around metabolically sick and extremely overweight who want to talk about, I'd kill people for my family. I'll do anything to protect my family, but you won't not eat pizza 4 times a week to be there for them.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? And how are you going to protect your family? I I get so frustrated with what our society has normalized, because it seems that it's either, if you mention this to people, you're hating them and you're shaming them. I'm not shaming anybody, but I'm going to speak truth to people, and I'm going to do it from a place of love and boldness. And here's what it looks like. I've got several dudes in my life who I'm speaking truth into, and there's a lot of life change and transformation happening amongst these guys. And it's uncomfortable for them at first, but you know how many dudes are coming up to me now and saying, "I'm so glad that 5 months ago you had the courage to walk up and tell me some truths."
Yeah.
Because I'll look at them and say, "Hey, man, you don't have to live this way. You're not honoring your family or honoring God with how you're taking care of yourself. You're not setting the example in your home."
Well, because sometimes you need that hard truth. You need to instill some hope into people and let them know that there's another way to live.
That's exactly right. So that's my feeling on normalizing and celebrating and the path that we go down in society. We live in bizarro world where we celebrate. I I did one of my earliest podcasts. I did something called "They Ran Out of Hot Chicks." And it's because the first time I picked up a women's health magazine at the store and I saw a 400-pound woman on the front of it. And I'm like, why are we normalizing this and calling it healthy?
Yeah.
I'm never going to be on board with that. Let's transition to this. I want to get out of the humble zone, and I want you to tell the audience. This is going to probably bump you a little bit. I want you to tell the audience how it feels to be as dialed in as you are.
Oh, why would that bump me?
I don't know, because I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, and I'd like you to share the life change that you've experienced in 6 months.
Okay. So I'm down 25, 24 pounds. I've had alcohol a total of 3 times, and White Claw FaceTimes were one of my favorite things I would do with my dad on Fridays. And I still like White Claws. I think they taste wonderfully, but they just don't do for my body the way that they used to. I don't like how I feel when I drink them. I don't like the fact that the calories are wasted. Like if I'm gonna add that and I'm gonna know that I'm wasting those, I don't want to drink them. I feel a lot stronger. My sleep's a lot better. So, and I've been able to look at relationships differently. So, because I'm getting that validation and that worth from within. And so I don't need to have all these pennies around me. I can have quarters. But yeah, it's been really a really fun transformation. It's something that I just kind of woke up one day and decided that I was gonna do.
How does it feel? Because there's people out there that have never experienced what you're going to share with them in this next few minutes. How does it feel to look in the mirror and see a totally transformed, fit, muscular body with abs
Yeah.
and with muscles in your arms and your legs with cuts in them? And I'm really, that's what I meant by putting you on the spot, because you you since you were a girl have been pretty, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And I've known you for a number of years and you've always been beautiful. But this is next level because beautiful's turned into healthy.
Yeah, I don't it's nice. It makes me feel really good at I have bought swimsuits for us to go out of town, and they're, like, small. They're
Ooh,
so
there's something.
small, and I've never worn anything like that before, so it's a lot of it's like, "This feels so freaking good. Why don't more people do it?"
Yes, thank you, because that's where I was trying to take you, because I feel the same way. Right now in my life, because and if you I know a lot of people watch the podcast, listen to the podcast that don't follow my Instagram, but if you'll go look on Instagram, I've been bold enough to put pictures of me training on there. And that's very uncomfortable for me. But as I watch these videos, I'm like, you know what? I look pretty freaking strong. And I've never had muscle like this. I'm 53 years old, everybody. So obviously I'm a little bit older, but this is the strongest I've ever been. And I'm not on medication. I don't go to the doctor. I'm not on this and that and everything else. I eat clean. I drink a lot of water. Yes, I take some supplements that help me and I get my hormones in line.
But I think that's something that everyone should do, not to totally derail what you're saying. Before I started this, and this is speaking directly towards the women, um, my periods were really bad. I would have them for like a month, or I would have one for a week stop, and then I'd have them for 2 more weeks. And I'd also started getting a bunch of cysts, and I'd go to the doctor, and I couldn't figure out why. And they were just like, "This is just your life, Allie. Like, you just need to accept it." And I'm like, "This is severe pain." And then I went and got on hormones for my uterus, and my uterus was really inflamed. So once I took a hold of my physical health and was like, something needs to change, and the only person that can change it is myself, it took everything. I just did my eval with my Transcend people, and I got all my blood work back, and I'm really impressed with it. And then we had to level out some other stuff, but she's like, "So how are your periods going?" And I was like, "They don't exist." And it's not because I'm going through menopause. I'm only 31. It's not because of anything else. It's because my hormones are in check. This is how your body's supposed to function. And I'm like, this is good. I feel good. I don't, you know, something that I used to say often, and Jim can attest to this. Before I would start that time of the month for me, I would be not kind. I wouldn't be fun to be around, and you could kind of tell. And I'm like, now I don't even know when it's happening. I don't get the bloatedness that people talk about. I don't get the mood swings. My body just functions like a machine. And that's the
It's
stuff.
wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've experienced that, not exactly that, but it's from a hormone perspective, right? So, especially as you get older, fellas, it can be, well, I'm tired. I don't have the energy, and I want to work out, but I'm just not putting on the muscle, and da da da. And so, oftentimes, there's hormone deficiencies,
Mhm.
and in men and women, and so that's why I recommend partnering with generally a medical doctor is not your general practitioner is not going to help you, but there's plenty of telehealth places and even local places here that can help get your hormones in line. Reach out and I'll hook you up. But we get our testosterone right, and we look at all of our other hormone levels, and then we understand once our body's actually dialed in, it's just a machine, as you've said, and our bodies also heal very quickly. We're getting sick way less than we used to, right?
Yeah.
The healthier that we become. Even
Yeah.
our household. Arlie used to, she's a kid, she's at school, she gets sick a lot. She hasn't been sick. We've become a household that is trying to focus on health primarily. And it's just we're so much happier because there's our foundation. Our foundation is in Jesus, our foundation is in health and a healthy lifestyle.
Yep.
And it's just This is how life should be. It's pretty darn amazing.
I agree.
And that's what we're about. We want other people to experience this.
Yeah,
And why in the heck wouldn't you want to, right?
exactly.
Um,
I do have another thing out of this book.
go. Sorry.
Oh, no. Um, so the other thing that really stuck out to me is that I can remember when I was younger that you would be told in schools or by your parents or aunts and uncles that you're going to do great things. You can do whatever you want to do. You're just wonderful, you're perfect. And so what that tells us is that we can do anything. You want to be president, you can do it. You want to be an actress, you can do it. You can do anything. But it's not telling us that we can only do those things if we put in the work. We're told that we're extraordinary, but by telling us that we're extraordinary, you're telling everyone that they're extraordinary, that it means that no one's extraordinary. And the only people that actually become extraordinary are the people that become obsessed with being extraordinary, obsessed with putting in those long days at the office to run the company, obsessed with putting in those 2 a days in the gym to have those muscles, obsessed with what they're eating. Those are the people that become set apart to become extraordinary. And, typically the people that you're going to meet walking around in the street are average, and that's okay. Not everyone's going to be extraordinary. That's what the word means.
Such a good point in the participation trophy society
Yes.
that we're in. And it's been that way for a couple of generations now. Everybody wants to be quote unquote equal. And the fact of the matter is that's not how the world works.
I hate it. Arlie gets because right now she just Are we okay?
I think so. We can't have the cats down here when we're recording anymore.
So Arlie does sideline cheer right now, and so at the end of each season of sideline cheer, all the girls get a little medal and a poster, which is nice, but it's silly because again, you're telling even the girls that didn't show up for practice or all the games, the ones that sat on the sidelines and didn't do anything, that they still did such a great job, and that's simply not the case. Not everyone should get those.
It also does a disservice when they go out into the workforce because our country is still based upon a meritocracy.
Yep.
You throw out all the DEI nonsense that's going by the wayside now, and it's a meritocracy. If you're the best, you get the job. I don't care what color your hair is. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care how you identify. None of that. If you're the best, you get the freaking job.
Yeah.
That's how it ought to be. And then that's how you make the most money. And that's how you end up having the most influence.
But because we do the participation stuff, they get in these heads. I'm gay. I've got rainbow hair. I've got 6 nose rings.
Yeah. And then if you don't hire that person, you're a bigot. No, you just suck compared to Charlie over here, who's worked his ass off since he's 15 years old and he's a freaking killer in every aspect. He's better than you.
Yep.
And that's why Charlie's getting the job. Now, if you want Charlie's job, be better than Charlie.
Exactly.
And our country's going back that way.
It's fine to have a little bit of competition. I don't think there's enough of that.
There is not enough of it. Life is a competition, and you need to buckle up and you need to get better. And that's what everything we do in building and becoming is about, getting better.
Yep. 365.
You got anything else before we walk into a close here?
No.
Apologies for our crazy cats who just walked across the control board. So I don't know if Allie's going to do some editing there, or if we're just going to let that go, but I'm guessing let it go.
I'm going to do my best.
All right. So we want to invite you all to come along on our journey. Don't get left behind. Stop feeling like you aren't good enough. And that this life that you see us leading, people think it's not for them. Why? Well, I can't be healthy. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the energy. I don't, blah, 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 blah. They're lies. They're poisoned by the lies. And then delay. So everybody who says, later on, I'm going to do blank. When this all becomes perfect in my life, I'm going to make some change. The devil's number one trick is delay. Delaying you taking action. What's the best day to plant a tree, Allie?
10 years ago.
I was going to say 20, but I like your thinking. What's the second best day? Today. Everybody plant the freaking tree today. It doesn't matter that you haven't done it for 20 years or 10 years.
Yeah.
It matters if you have a desire in your heart to plant a tree, do it now and don't wait another 10 or 20 years.
Exactly.
If you're stuck, do something about it. We have one life. That's why I am not about wasting any more life. I'm gonna just wring every bit of life out of each moment.
When you're on that, when you don't have that one more wake up and it's your last day, what do you want to think back and look at?
That's right.
Yeah.
We're building our eulogy right now.
Yeah.
We're building the speeches that people are going to give at our funerals.
That's what I was just thinking. What are people going to say about you?
What are they going to get up and say? I want people to get up and say, you know what? That guy inspired me. That guy told me truths. That guy helped me become the best version of myself. That guy was there for me at my lowest and helped me reach the peaks of my highest. That guy is going to be missed because of how he made us feel and the impact that he had on the world. That's what I want said at my funeral.
Yep. I love that.
Stop wasting it. Everybody needs help, including Allie and myself. We are here to be that help. And if you don't have one freaking dollar to invest with us, that is okay. We are still going to help you. Watch Allie's TikToks. Follow me on Instagram. YouTube is full of countless hundreds and thousands of hours of really life-giving material. I'll give you one more example of free value because I walk it out. I had a dude reach out to me today that I talked to at a men's group on Saturday, and I haven't seen this guy in years. Kind of told him, well, here's what I've been doing. This is what I'm doing with my life, and this is what I'm passionate about. Reached out to me this morning and was very upfront about, I don't have the money and da-da-da-da-da. I really need some help, though. Would you be willing to design me some workouts I can do at home? I don't have any equipment, and I'm limited on this and this and this. And you know what I said? No freaking way. You're not paying me. You get nothing. No, that's not what I said. I said, I'll tell you what. Give me a day or two. I'm even going to record a video and send these movements to you, and it's going to change your life. He's not sending me $1. This guy asked for my help, and the answer is yes.
Nobody gets left behind.
Nobody gets left behind. That's a freaking great way to finish. We're not leaving anybody on the battlefield of life. We're not just going to step over the bodies. We're going to pick them up and put them on our shoulders and take them back and get help.
Yep.
I love that about you. That's all we got. No finishing words.
Bye, guys.
See ya.